I'm John Kenyon. Welcome to our grotto here at the new Wight Aviation Museum here on the Isle of Wight. This is our start position. It gives a lot of information about everything to do with aviation on the Isle of Wight, and in particular the first aviator to land on the Isle of Wight. I'm proud to be here telling you a little bit about the museum. We're hoping to be opening very shortly, and as a charity a lot of things happening. And we've got a wonderful band of volunteers, about 30 volunteers. We're here at Sandown Airport, the Isle of Wight Airport, which is the right place for an aviation museum. The museum itself is going to tell the story, a very important story, of aviation on the Isle of Wight from its very beginnings, way back in 1910, right to the present day, with the modern aircraft and materials being produced by companies like GKN. Importantly, we're going to tell the story of the firsts of the Isle of Wight, the aviators who did so much to make this island very much a rocket island, and also the original aviators who actually came from the marine industry and started to work into aviation. So marine actually spurned aviation over 100 years of development here on the Isle of Wight, and the whole of that story you're going to find in this museum. There'll be lots of things to do. We hope we can welcome you to our museum in the future, and you're going to enjoy it. It will be free for everyone to come into the museum to have a look at what we've got, and there will be something for everyone. All we ask is that we hope you might leave us a donation when you leave. Thanks very much.
Hi there, I'm Tony Smart, working for Wight Aviation Museum. I'm also the project leader for the construction of the full-size replica of the Black Arrow rocket, which was the rocket that was launched in Australia but made on the island, and a very successful rocket that launched a satellite that is still in orbit today. This full-size replica was made for me from my drawings by a company in East Cowes, and we're still putting it together. Had a lot of help from local companies. We are getting the nose cone made by Vestis, and CCAM, the local college, are helping to make some fairings that go here. These fairings here, CCAM are making them for me from a master mould, so they've been very helpful. We're now at the stage of putting on the idents on there, and also the rocket fairings, some of the fuel lines, and various bits of assembly that will make it look like a full-size rocket. It's going to be outside at Sandown Airport. This is a model of how we're going to actually raise a rocket to put it in position. So we would have a tractor here and have this A-frame, and we would be able to raise the rocket like that using a tractor and a winch up into the full-size position, and then it would be bolted down to the concrete frame, and we'll have some support wires. The beauty of this, we can actually move it if we want to put it to some one like Garlic Festival or somewhere like that. We can put it on a trailer and we can then position it wherever we want it. So it will then be lowered down.
Hi, my name's Dave Needham. We've been given this Tornado cockpit very kindly by Sandown Airport to try and get some sort of flight simulator in the Air Museum. It's not working at the moment, but currently I'm trying to incorporate a PC joystick and throttle, and then the idea is to get a Microsoft Flight Simulator and perhaps have it over here with a big screen where we can just sort of project the image onto a big screen, so we can have some sort of flight simulator for the Air Museum. So that's the plan.
Hello, my name's Marlene. I used to work on the Black Arrow project, which took place at Sandown. I was in a section called Data Reduction, where our office came into play after every static firing that took place there, where we actually went through all the readings from the static rocket to decide whether it was good enough to go to Woomera. I got involved with WHAM by purely seeing all the information about Black Arrow and the fact they were going to build a replica. So I thought I had a few bits and pieces that I could bring along. I came down here and I've never gone away since. I'm busy at the moment collating all things that come in for the library. Boxes of books come in quite regularly and we have to log every single one so we know what it is, where it came from, who it belongs to, or whether it's ours to keep for the museum. It's all been very interesting. It's a great project. I've learned things that I didn't think I would learn, but I'm glad I did. And thoroughly recommend anybody to come along and have a look, even if you don't think you have an interest in aviation. I'm sure there's something here that you will find very interesting.
My name is Dr. John Fishman, and I'm a member of the Wight Aviation Museum. I am the Communications Director and Public Affairs Officer, so I make sure that we coordinate all of our communications and our public outreach, which includes newsletters, releases to the newspapers, and any public events.
My name is Helen Blake and I'm one of the founder members of WHAM. We set up a while ago in a hotel room to see who would be interested in setting up an aviation museum on the Isle of Wight. I'm now one of the directors and I have a lot of hats on here. What I try to do is try and organise and empower people to set up some of the project work that's being done. For example, we have a library, people have brought in some books, so we have somebody looking at the library books, cataloguing them, so we are going to have a reference library for people to use. We've been donated magazines that need cataloguing so people can access those. Some absolutely fantastic pictures that have been donated. These come from the Anne Springman collection at the Chine and beautifully exhibited by one of our volunteers. So it's not just getting the things into the museum, it's the displaying of them, making sure that the public are going to be able to see what's been donated. We look at lots of things here. We have to do some project funding, enabling people to donate when they'd like to donate, and for us to actually find funds to do all this work. Nothing comes particularly cheap or free, so we work hard at how do we get the money to display some of our stuff, to enable us for volunteers to come in. We've set up an education committee now, looking at how we educate in schools. The children of today need to know our tomorrows and they're our futures. The rocket that we've got here needs explaining of how did it get here. The rocket aviation and aviation work on the Isle of Wight, that needs sharing with all our young people. We are hoping young people will join us in setting up the museum. We also have to look at new exhibits coming in, how they come in, how they're documented, and we've set up a room that when things come in, they're documented, they're filed, and then they can go on to display. So we have to have a system in place. Men in Sheds, what a team they are. Some lovely men coming in who can do some of our woodwork, our shelf making, getting things ready for us to display again. And they again in their own right have some needs that we can support them in the work they're doing. One of the most important things I think here is a cup of tea and a bun and a social. This is all done through voluntary, people giving their time up to an absolutely an amazing place. The history that's behind this, the documentation we're doing, the memorabilia that's coming in, the stories that are told, all done by people with a cup of tea and a cake, ensuring that they enjoy their time here at Wham.
Hi, my name's Colin. I'm classed as the custodian of the museum. I'm the man with the responsibility for the keys. I also make sure I check everybody in and out, so we know for insurance purposes, etc., who's here and who isn't, members and volunteers. I also take names and details from various visitors that might come and see us while we're in the process of putting this museum together. As you can see, we keep the various items on the table ready for anybody that comes, leaflets and such. We're also looking for donations from any visitors. We're also always looking for volunteers. If you start off as a volunteer, you can always become a member. The more people we get interested, you know, the quicker things will happen, and the better we'll be.